So, good morning, students. Today, our topic is theories of bonding in metals. So, yesterday we discussed about the theories of bondings in metals. So, generally, the metals are in some of the properties, specific properties, have the specific properties. That's why we are prepared and proposed a three theories of the metals bonding. The first one, free electron theory, the second one, valency bond theory, the third one, bond theory. So let's we start with the second one, valency bond theory. Yesterday we discussed about the um, is that um, free electron theory. In free electron theory proposed by the Drude. After that, the Lorentz, the free electron theory proposed by the Drude, and after that, the Lorentz is extended the free electron theory. The free electron theory will discuss about the some of the specific properties of the will explain the some of the specific properties of the metals. Like so, we does not explain about the um, malleability and ductility of the metals. Also, it does not explain about the high melting points of the metals. So in this theory, so he explain about the conductancy. Um, the metals are good conductors, and the metals are the lustrous. So he explained some of the um, concept about the metals concepts about this. So he explained the some of the theories, and he explained some specific properties of the metals. So let's we start with the free electron theory, how they explain the specific properties of the metals. So let's we start with this theory, the specific properties of the metals, how they explain the specific properties of the metals. So let's we start with this theory. So the free electron theory, generally the free electron theory proposed by the Rhodes and Lorentz. So this theory explain the some of the specific properties of the compounds of the mm, metals. So he explain about the conductancy and the metals are good conductor, lustrous. So in this theory, he explain about these things. So let's we start with the Drude Lorentz theory. So these are the some of the mechanism involving in the digital origin series. So this is the red point is the cations of the metals. So the dotted blues are the free electrons. It's move around the um, metals kernels, around the metal kernels. So you can explain some of this theory to this theorem. And let's we start with the second, this is the free electron theory, how they approaching in the free electron theory, which is explained here. So let's we start with the valency bond theory. So he was the famous scientist. They got two Nobel Prize for his contributions. One is from chemistry, another from the Peace Prize. So there was a scientist, Linus Corn Falling, was an American chemistry, biochemistry, chemical engineer, and so he was a one wonderful scientist. For these those contributions to, because of his contribution, they got two Nobel Prizes for this theory. So they proposed a non-bonding resonance structures. For example, if you take a lithium have the only one electron to make the bonding valence electron. So every bond, if you take a four molecules of lithium, so they proposed the two types of resonance structure. One is the synchronized resonance structure, another one is the non-synchronized resonance structure. So for example, in synchronized resonance structure, so there is no ions are there in the synchronized resonance structure. In non-synchronized resonance structure, the ions are present in the non-synchronized resonance. For example, here the lithium, what is the atomic number of lithium? We know about the lithium atomic number 3. So the electronic configuration 1s2 and 2s1. So let's we start with the simple example of lithium. This lithium have the only one valency electron. If you make a two lithium bond connecting with the sigma bond, so we need covalent bond. So we, to form the covalent bond between the two lithium, we need two electrons. But in out of these two electrons, so in four lithiums we have the only two bonds are covalent bonds are formed here. Because of this reason, for example, if you have the four we need after that this covalent bond move to like this, so we can rotate the resonance. This is the synchronized resonance structure. So this is the B non-synchronized resonance structure. So here the middle of the lithium gain of one electron, and this is the last terminal lithium plus loss of one electron. This lithium have the two electrons, so that's why it's make the new two covalent bonds between these two lithium. So this is the non-synchronized structure, this one the synchronized structure. So this synchronized and non-synchronized structure to explain the metallic properties. So for example, the metals are the high melting point. So you can explain it this synchronized structure. The metals are the um, show the malleability and ductility. So we can explain with the synchronized structures to explain this. So the metals are the good conductors. We can explain with the non-synchronized structure. Here there is ionic form. That's why these compounds are show the high conductivity. So this way we can explain the Pauling, Linz Pauling, or explain about this theory on the um, Linz Pauling are about this theory. So to explain this theory to understanding the metallic properties, so we can't explain this type of conductors and about good conductors. So this theory also explains some of the specific properties. So for example here, so he was explain about the lustrous and good conductors and the high melting points, high density, malleability, and ductility can be drawn into wires. Like these are the some of the properties explain this with the help of Linz Pauling structure, Linz Pauling synchronized resonance structure. After that, we the third theory, bond theory. To explain the bond theory, this is the based on molecular orbital theory. This molecular orbital theory to form the, for example, if you take the n number of bonding orbitals involving in this process to form the n by 2 anti-bonding orbitals, n by 2 bonding orbitals. So to how to understanding this bond theory, it is very simple to understanding the bond theory like molecular orbital theory. So if we have the form of linear combination of atomic orbitals, n number of linear combination of atomic orbitals to form the n by 2 anti-bonding, n by 2 bonding molecular orbital. So for example here we take the sodium metal, and the atomic number of sodium 11, electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 and 3s1. Here you can write like this: neon 3s1, 3p0. In this 3s1 and 3p1 are the valency electrons. The remaining all are the inner orbitals. The outer orbitals are only 3s and 3p. So here, so in s orbitals we have the only one electron is present. In this one electron involving in the s orbitals are involving in the linear combination of atomic orbitals to form the anti-bonding and bonding orbitals. This n by 2 anti-bonding and n by 2 bonding orbitals. Here for example we have the 3s1 orbitals. In 3s1, so to occupied level it is a bonding orbital, always less energy when compared to anti-bonding orbitals. So that's why anti-bonding orbitals are lower energy when compared to anti-bonding orbitals. The electron occupy from the bonding molecular orbitals only first of all. So then after it is filled after the electron to move towards move to the anti-bonding molecular orbitals. So this is the all the occupied or all the electrons occupied. So the energy between the conduction bond and valency bond filled bond. So always the filled bond. For example, if you take the sodium, the 3s1 orbitals are all to form as a filled bond to make a filled bond. So the remaining 3p orbitals to form a valency bond. So the gap between the valency bond and the filled bond and conduction band, depending on these energy gaps to we are classified into three types of the um, metals as an insulator act as insulator, semiconductors and conductors. So this theory is very well explain about the conductancy differences between the metals to metal, what is happening in the metals to metal in this theory. To explain about this theory, it is very simple to understanding. For example, if you take the lithium atom, the field bond, the energy gap between the valency bond and conduction bond is very low, so that metals are act as a good conductors. If the valency bond conduction bond energy gap little bit is more, so that is a act as a semiconductor. For example, if the conduction bond and valency bond energy gap is more, so that type of metals act as a insulators. For example, if you understanding this theory to understanding the how to different type of metals show the different types of conductivity. So for example, if you take copper and aluminum, it is a very good conductors to compare with the sodium and magnesium. So these are the to how to understanding the conductivity nature of this metal. The most conductivity elements in silver have the more conductivity when compared to copper and gold. So aluminum is more conductivity than calcium and tungsten, and zinc, cobalt, nickel. So these are the conductivity order from the silver to ruthenium. So the silver is the most conductive element, but it is very expensive. That's why we are not using the wires. So that's why we, in place of silver, we are using copper and aluminum. So gold also very expensive. That's why we are using only copper. So copper and aluminum. Electrically conductivity in the specific conductivity of the some of the metals, the copper, iron 10 to the power of 8 to 10 to the power of 4, the germanium, silicon 10 to the power of minus 4, 10 to the power of 0 to 10 to the power of minus 4. So glass, diamond and fused silicon, these are all insulators. The germanium, silicons are the semiconductors. The energy gap between the energy gap between this germanium and silicons is very low, the between the valency and conduction bonds. So that's why it is act as a good uh, semiconductors. So we need to give the temperature to this semiconductors to act as a conductor. So these insulators are always there is no conduction passing in this insulator. So that's why we are using on the insulators. Also very useful in the power transportation also. So this is the about the bond theory. It is very simple. If you have the all the inner orbitals to form the field bond, so the valency orbitals to make a valency bond and the conduction, but the empty orbitals of the to make a conduction bond. The energy between the conduction bond and valency bond is very low. So it is act as a good conductors. If the energy gap is little bit more when compared to conductors, so that is act as a semiconductor. The energy gap is very high between the valency bond and um, conduction bond. So that type of metals are compounds, that compounds are act as a um, um, insulators. So this is about the bond theory. Let's coming to our sodium. So what is happening in sodium, what is happening in calcium, to how to understanding this bond theory in this valency theory in this. So the sodium metal to act here, the electronic configuration 3s1 3p1. So the remaining two 1s1 2s2 2p6 to form a field band. So this is the inner orbitals are the all the inner orbitals to form a field band. So there's the remaining two orbitals are there. One is the occupied, another one unoccupied orbitals. The occupied 3s1 orbitals to form the valency bond, the 3p orbitals to form the conduction bond. So this is the about the sodium metals bonds. The for sodium metal, the all the 1s1 2s1 2p6 to form the field bond, and the 3s1 to form the conduct um, um, to form the valency bond, and the remaining 3p orbitals to form the conduction bond. So this way we can understanding easily. So how to this type of sodium metals to involving what is the happening, the what is the conductivity order. For example, here the 3s1 orbitals, if we take the linear combination of n number of linear combination of atomic orbitals of 3s orbitals involving in this process to form the n by 2 bonding orbitals, n by 2 anti-bonding orbitals. So in this n by 2 bonding orbitals, so the s1 we have only one electron. This electron are occupied with fully occupied with the n by 2 bonding orbitals. So the remaining 3p orbitals, these 3p orbitals are the to form the conduction bond, and 3s1 orbitals are the occupied levels. This is the valency bond. So this is happening. So in this sodium metals to understanding easily, so these 3s orbitals to form the valency bond, these 3p orbitals to form the conduction bond. After that, the energy gap between the 3s and 3p orbitals are very less because of 3s energy. So how to calculate the energy of these compounds to understanding easily? Mm. So for example, the 3s orbitals, uh, so we have calculated the energy for us n plus L rule. So here n is the principal quantum number, L is equal to azimuthal quantum number. So the energy of 3s orbitals, 3 is equal to n is equal to 3 and L is equal to 0. The 3s orbitals energy level 3, and the 3p orbital energy level is also n plus L rule. According to n plus L rule, n is equal to 3 and L is equal to um, L is equal to p orbital, L is equal azimuthal quantum number p is equal to 1. So the value of n plus L is equal to totally 4. So the energy gap between these two compounds are very less. So that's why um, it is easily understanding the compound. So the energy gap is very less, so that's why it is act as a good conductors and good conductors. So it is, we can understanding here. For example, if you take the magnesium atomic number 12 electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 and 3s2. So this is the electronic configuration of the magnesium atom: 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 and 3s2. So neon 3s2, 3p0. The 3s2, 3s2 here we compare to 3s1, where it is sodium metal. The 3s1, only one electron is present in the valency orbital. Here the magnesium in valency orbital we have the two electrons. So that's why the here it is also occupied bonding and anti-bonding orbitals in here. So the energy gap between the valency bond and conduction bond is very low in this case. So that's why these compounds act as a good conductors when compared to the um, sodium atom. Magnesium act as a good conductor. So this is about the semiconductor silicon. So here the energy gap between the 3p orbital and 4s orbitals. 3p orbitals are inner orbitals and 4p orbitals are the outer orbitals. The energy gap between the 3p and 4p is very high. 4s is very high because of there is another orbital axis, the 3p and 4s. So that's why it is act as the energy gap is very high when compared to magnesium. The silicon and germanium act as a semiconductor. So in this theory, this way we can explain the different type of conductors, shows the metals, shows the different type of conductors, how they conductancy differences. So this way we can explain this theory to understanding the different type of conductors of the compounds. So this theory is very useful to understanding the different type of metals, different type of conductivity. For example, here we can understand this theory explain the different type of metal, shows the different type of conductivity. The silver and copper gold, aluminum, and calcium. So it show the different type of conductivity. So that the metals conductivity will explain this bond theory because of their bond energy gap between this valency bond and conduction bond. If the valency bond and conduction bond energy gap is more, so that metal act as a insulator. So if the energy gap is little bit more when compared to conductors, so that metals are act as a semiconductor. So this way we can understanding this theory to explain the different type of metal shows the different type of conductivity. So here we can example silver as a good conductor because of their valency bond and connection band gap is very less. Here the copper also like that, the conduction bond and this one um, conduction bond valency bond energy gap is very less, so that's why the copper act as a good conductor. So this way this theory is very explain the all the metallic properties of the compounds. So when compared to last previous two theories like we have the pre-electron theory and the second one valency bond theory. So these both these theories are explain some of the properties of the metals, but this theory are totally explain the, all the properties of the metals. Thank you. Okay, so we will take one more class and tomorrow. Okay, thank you.